International competition being held in the same Chandler Sporting Complex. It's a sport dominated by Australia in the Pacific region, and again our competitors produce their winning form.
Gymnastics? Well, sort of. Call it aerial gymnastics and you might be closer to the truth. Lined up are the under 10, 13 and 14 age group finalists in the Pan-Pacific Trampoline Championships. Competing are teams from Australia, New Zealand, Canada and Japan. Be assured, these kids are no bunnies when it comes to hopping on a tramp. In this sport, the sky's the limit.
Most of them are doing double somersault movements with multiple twists, or single somersault movements with multiple twists. These skills are all put together one after the other in a 10 bounce routine.
The four major disciplines of the sport are the individual tramp, synchronised, where partners mirror each other's movements, the double mini, in which Australia has been world champions for the past 3 years, and line tumbling, once a routine used in gymnastics competition. But trampolining has been slow to grow. Some say due to the fear of injury, perhaps an unfounded fear.
Statistics have proven that there are more accidents in football or gymnastics, in fact, than there have been in trampolining.
Australia has dominated the Pan-Pacific since they were first held in 1981, and this year was no different, with many of our young competitors aiming higher still.
I love to go to the World Championships and try to get in the finals over there. They've got really good tumblers and it's going to be very hard, especially the Americans and the French. They're very good.
But our dominance in this competition seems likely to come under threat. The Japanese were out here for experience and showed they had great potential, but weren't quite ready to put it all together. But in 1989, the Pan-Pacifics will be held on their home ground, and it might be enough to make the winning difference. And New Zealand have made leaps and bounds in the development of their competitors. The Trans-Tasman Cup between Australia and New Zealand was held in conjunction with these championships. New Zealand won the first tie in 1969, but it's been Australia's ever since.
We are a lot closer to Australia than we have been in previous years, so all is very good for the future for New Zealand, because we feel that it's perhaps only a few years before we can match the Australians in the open competitions.
Two of our champion open competitors are 22-year-old Adrian Wareham from Victoria and 21-year-old Liz Jensen from Adelaide. Winners of their respective divisions at the Pan-Pacifics, both are keen to again represent Australia at next year's World Championships, to be held in the United States. Championships which have consistently seen Australia placed in the top 10 of competing nations. But it's success without recognition, as most Australians don't yet relate to trampolining as a sport.
Well, I have heard someone say, well, that's not a sport, and they just imagine kids messing around in the backyard, just bouncing up and down.
It's taken very seriously overseas, but although it's not quite as serious in Australia, it's sort of a play sport at the moment in Australia.
But bouncing up and down takes a lot of practice, and when you do get it together, it can be the ultimate cheap thrill.
It's sort of like going on a Big Dipper without actually paying for it, I suppose. It's that sort of feeling, you know.
While it may not be one of Australia's #1 sports, one thing you can be sure of as a competitor or spectator is a lot of high-flying action.